Hi, I'm Bella from New York. Before I tell you my story, please like and subscribe. My aunt said my parents had an accident when I was a baby. And since then, I've lived with her and my cousin Lucy. But you never guessed another kid lived in this house. All the wall frames had pictures of just Aunt and Lucy. Lucy had the biggest room, bursting with toys and books. Lucy had so many clothes she had another room as a closet. And me, well, I lived in the attic with her hand-me-downs. But I didn't care. All I ever really wanted was for Aunt to love me like she loved Lucy. So I did whatever Aunt asked me. I served her breakfast in bed, polished her shoes, painted her nails. But somehow she was just never happy. Once when I was 10, a new neighbor came to visit Aunt, and she looked awestruck when she saw me.
What a beautiful child. That gorgeous red hair and those adorable dimples.
Adorable? They're just dents in her face. Stop smiling, Bella. You look like a moron. Go get us tea.
I went to the kitchen, spat in Aunt's tea, and gave her the cup with a very serious face there. But soon after I turned 13, my whole life was transformed. One day at breakfast, Aunt was going through the mail when suddenly she spat out her cereal. Just then, I saw the letter she was reading. It had my name on it. Hey, what's that? But Aunt had already jumped off her chair and she threw the letter in the fireplace. Why'd you do that? It was mine. I saw my name.
And who would write to you? You didn't see anything.
As she stormed off, I couldn't help thinking, who would write to me? A few days later, the doorbell rang, and a postman was standing outside.
Express delivery for Ms. Bella.
Suddenly, a flying figure pushed me aside and attacked the postman. Oh my God, Aunt! I tried snatching the letter from her, but she was off with it like a bullet. What the freaking turtle? What was she hiding? I was dying to find out, but the letter stopped coming. But one evening when the bell rang, Aunt ran to open the door. And standing outside were two bodyguards with a wealthy-looking man.
Can you explain what happened to the letters and plane tickets I sent for my daughter?
Wait, what? Just then the man spotted me, and his eyes welled up.
Oh my God, you must be Bella. You look exactly like your mother. I'm your dad, sweetie.
Dad? You're my dad? Why didn't you come for me before? He tearfully explained that he and Mom had gotten divorced before I was born, and she told him never to get in touch. He found out just recently that Mom had an accident so long ago, and he tracked me down. As we hugged tight, I turned around to Aunt. You made me think he wasn't even alive. And why were you keeping the letters from me?
Because you don't deserve to go live like a princess. You should be my maid, after everything I've done for you.
Used to you? I did everything you ever asked just so you'd love me. Did you ever love me at all? Even a little?
No, how could I?
Dad told me to pack my things immediately, but before going, I made sure to rub Aunt's toothbrush inside the toilet. Then I took Dad's hand and left without even saying goodbye. We flew over to New York, and I was shocked at the size of Dad's mansion. My room was 5 times bigger than Lucy's. This was freaking awesome. As Dad was showing me around the house, I suddenly saw a tall woman staring at me coldly from a distance. Dad was married, so that must be my stepmom.
Mary, there you are. Come meet Bella.
But Mary just turned away and slammed the door behind her. Later that night, I walked past their bedroom to hear Dad and Mary talking in loud voices.
It's her first day here, Mary. Think how unwelcome she must have felt.
What about me? You just expect you'll bring a child home and I'll start loving her like she's my own.
I crept away without hearing any more. Great! Another mom figure who already hated me. When I went down for breakfast the next morning, Dad greeted me with a smile, and so did Mary.
Sorry, Bella. I wasn't feeling too well yesterday. I hope you slept well.
Yeah, as if she cared. When I asked Dad for the orange juice, Mary quickly got up to pour it for me, and she dropped the whole jug in my lap. Oh my God, what are you doing?
I'm so sorry, it just slipped from my hands.
I know you don't want me here, but you don't have to be so petty. With that, I stormed off. Her whole innocent act was fake, and she proved me right soon enough. A few days later, I was walking over to the sofa in the living room when suddenly I tripped over something. I went flying straight into this weird statue. I stared at the wreck in horror. Mary leapt up angrily from her armchair.
Oh my God! How could you be so clumsy? Do you know what that's worth?
Just then, Dad burst into the room, and behind him were some guests.
What happened? We heard a loud crash.
Oh, honey. Bella broke the statue by accident, but thankfully she's not hurt.
Dad looked really upset, but stayed silent. I couldn't stop myself, though. You were just shouting at me, but the minute Dad came in, you became an angel.
What? No, I was just shocked. I didn't mean to shout.
Stop acting, Mary. You just want me to look bad in front of Dad. I think you tripped me up with your leg.
What? You little brat. How dare you? You must have tripped on the carpet.
That's enough. In case you both forget we have guests, Bella, please go to your room.
I walked off angrily and slammed my door shut. I didn't trust her one bit. Dad got me enrolled in school soon, and I felt nervous walking into the huge building. A few kids were looking at me, and I smiled. And suddenly, a bunch of boys were surrounding me.
Oh my god, can you do that again?
Do what?
Smile, please. Smile again.
I did, and all the boys just stared at me. What was wrong with my smile?
Those dimples are so freaking cute. I could just look at them all day. Wow. These dents in my face. Like boys like these.
Just then, a girl pushed through the crowd.
Get away from her, you morons. You're scaring her. Hi, I'm Nora, and I don't have a redhead in my group. You look nice and rich, so we're friends now, okay?
Well, she wasn't really giving me a choice. I was part of her popular girls gang now. I loved my new school. But it started bothering me really soon that Nora could be rather mean to other kids. I tried to tell her a few times, but she always said she was only joking. But then, one day, I walked into the cafeteria and I saw her and her friends making fun of a kid on crutches.
Hey, Limpy, what would happen if I took away one of your legs?
And with that, she pulled away a crutch, and he landed hard on the ground. Nora, are you crazy? He's already hurt. Why are you bothering him?
Oh, come on. We're just joking around.
But it's not funny. You're just being a jerk bully.
Hey, no one talks to me like that, Tomato Girl.
She pounced on me and pinned me against the wall. I pushed her back, and she went crashing straight into the chemistry teacher walking by. He dropped all the bottles he was holding, and the vile smell of chemicals had everyone gagging and running out of there. And Nora and I got suspended for a week. Dad would be so disappointed. When I went down that evening to tell him, he wasn't in his study. But I found freaking Nora poking her nose through his things. She just picked up a pen and put it in her pocket. What are you doing in my house?
Your house? You live here? Since when?
You're interrogating me, you thief. Put that pen back right now or else.
Or else? What does that even mean?
I leapt at her, trying to reach her pocket as she fought back and screamed. Suddenly, we were pulled apart by Mary and another woman.
This witch attacked me. She's the one who got me suspended too. Mom.
Bella, Nora is my guest. Her mom and I are friends. What's going on here?
I guess I just have better taste in friends than you. I brushed past her and stormed off. Of course, Mary was friends with awful people like herself. A few days later, Dad was away on a business trip, and someone quietly opened my door at midnight. To my surprise, it was Mary with a hand behind her back. What? What do you want?
Your dad told me it's your birthday, and I just came to say, well, happy birthday.
She stepped forward with a cake with candles on it. I never had a birthday cake before. I thanked her awkwardly, and she sat down on the bed.
Bella, I think we got off on the wrong foot, and I'd really like to start over. Maybe we can get to know each other better.
She looked really sincere, and I wondered if I'd judged her too quickly. Yeah, I think I'd like that, Mary. We started hanging out more, and I found myself actually liking her. She took me to lovely cafes, shows, and galleries around New York. She had the best taste in clothes, and shopping with her was so much fun. Soon after Dad returned, Mary threw me the most amazing birthday party ever. It was the best day of my life. A couple of months later, there was a dance in school, and I'd been asked out by this new boy who had all the girls drooling. That evening, I wore a gorgeous dress Mary had picked out for me. She'd even done my hair and makeup. I received so many compliments, and my date just couldn't keep his eyes off of me. We were slow dancing to a song when suddenly someone pulled the back of my dress really hard, and I heard the fabric rip. Oh my God. I turned around in horror to see Nora grinning and holding part of my dress. But everyone was staring at my back, at a long, ugly scar.
Look, Marcus. Look at that disgusting thing on her back. It's like she's freaking Frankenstein.
Suddenly, I leapt forward and slapped her hard. The only monster here, Nora, is you. I ran out in angry tears and got into my car. I didn't care if anyone knew about my stupid scar, but the only person who could have told Nora about it was Mary. She'd seen it when she was helping me try on a dress one day. I burst into the living room and started screaming. How could you be such a witch, Mary? You almost made me believe you cared about me.
What? What are you talking about? What happened to your dress?
Nora ripped my dress because you told her about this scar. Even Dad doesn't know. I only told you, and you thought it could be something you tell Nora to use against me. You're the most horrible person I know. You're even worse than my aunt. I hate you. As I cried furiously in my room, Dad came in and hugged me.
Sweetheart, there must be some mistake. Mary wouldn't do this.
She would. She did. No one else could. Don't defend her, Dad. So if Nora thought I was going to be embarrassed and hide, she was so wrong. I went back to school the next day, expecting weird looks and comments. But what happened left me shocked. The principal walked in during the first lesson and said,
The entire class came to me this morning to complain about an incident at the dance yesterday. And there is no way that I will tolerate this kind of behavior in my school. Nora, you're expelled.
As Nora stared at her in horror, the whole class erupted into cheers and applause. This totally made up for everything. When I got home that afternoon, I heard screams from the living room. It was Nora's mom.
No one had been spying on Bella. Your stupid maid saw her scar one day and told us. And so what? My daughter played a harmless little prank, and now she deserves to be exposed, expelled, her entire future destroyed. All because of that stupid, disfigured, red-haired witch.
Don't you dare talk like that about my daughter.
And with that, Mary punched her.
Get out of my house. You are not welcome here.
However, as the butlers let her out and she went screaming, Mary suddenly saw me and I started to cry. I'm so sorry, Mary, for thinking it was you. I've had a hard time believing you could really care for me. I heard you the first day you said you couldn't love me like your own, and I guess I've been scared to love you in case you didn't love me back.
Oh, darling, I said that? Yes, because I couldn't love you right away. It was all so new for me, too. I've never been anyone's mom, but I've tried so hard to get to know you and love you. And I really do now. Bella, I love you. You're my daughter as much as your dad's now.
I love you too.
Hi, I'm Alva from Sweden, and I have an incredibly rare genetic mutation that causes my aging process to be much slower than normal. Like when I was 6 years old, I looked like a dumb 2-year-old toddler, which made people treat me like one, and things got even worse as a teenager. But to hear the rest of my story, please like and subscribe. Because of my condition, my parents decided to homeschool me till I was a bit older. I only got to hang out with other kids at the playground, and I'd get picked on all the time because I looked so much smaller than everybody.
Welcome, dwarfs. To her, we're giants.
Even once, when I was about 8 years old, I was playing on the slides in the park when a worried-looking woman came running over to me.
Sweetie, are you lost?
No?
Oh, poor baby, probably can't understand a thing. You must be so scared.
Do I look scared? And I'm not a baby. But she wasn't even listening to me. She just pulled out her phone and called the police.
We have a missing child here, officer. Please help her find her mommy and daddy.
Despite my protests, the policeman still lifted me into a stroller, took me to the station, and started taking pictures of me for missing child posters. Oh my god, I know my parents' number and address! I live right across the street from the playground, and you guys kidnapped me! That was just one of the countless times my parents had to go to the police station to explain and bring me home. It only temporarily stopped when I joined school in the 7th grade. The minute I walked into the classroom, a girl elbowed me roughly and said,
Oh, little one, who are you looking for? Or are you lost?
Oh, if only I had $1 for every time I heard that, I would be a millionaire by now, and I wouldn't need to be in the school with dumb people like you. And with that, I pushed her aside and took my seat. When I did all the math problems correctly in the first lesson, the teacher called me over looking all starstruck.
Wow, Alva, you're a genius.
Thanks, but why?
Because you solved these algebra problems meant for 12-year-olds.
But I am 12 years old. The teacher just giggled. And then did something I hate. She grabbed my hoodie and lifted me like I was a little kid.
Oh, aren't you a little cutie pie? Yes, you definitely have the mind of a 12-year-old.
No matter how many times I said it, no one believed that I was actually 12. They'd rather believe I was some kind of baby genius who'd been bumped up a few grades. After trying really hard, finally, I gave in and let everyone believe I was super smart. Even so, this didn't really help me become popular or make friends, though. Jessica, the meanest girl in class, wasn't too happy because everyone thought I was the smartest, and she made sure everyone constantly made fun of me.
Oh, my butt looks so huge. Are you wearing a diaper?
What kind of language is that book in? Goo goo gaga? Is anyone volunteering to lift Alva up to the toilet?
Another time I was eating lunch by myself when Jessica suddenly stopped by my table.
Oh, how is the baby going to eat all that with her little baby teeth?
Why are you this way, Jessica? What do you mean? I mean, why are you so awful to me? You're the most popular girl in class.
Yeah, I know. But before you showed up out of nowhere, I was the smartest too.
Fine, you're the prettiest and the smartest girl in the world. Can you leave me alone now, please?
Sure, but let me mash everything for the little baby to eat first.
And with that, she started pounding my food with her fist. OMG, you are such a psycho! I picked up the smushed piece of cake and flung it at her face. She picked up my glass of juice and dunked it on my head. My battle with the big bully happened. And before we knew it, everybody joined in for fun and a full-scale food fight had broken out. We both got detention, and after that day I found a corner in the little playpen for the kindergarten kids and basically had lunch there by myself for the next 3 years. Until one day, Isak came and sat next to me. Isak had just joined our class a few weeks ago and he was a total babe. With all the popular girls drooling all over him, I was sure he wouldn't notice someone like me, which is why I was pretty shocked to find him here.
Why do you always have lunch alone?
Is this your first time in high school? Of course, I don't expect someone like you to get it. He took my hand and looked deep into my eyes.
I don't understand why there's such an adorable girl in this high school.
I was so annoyed at how fast that made my heart beat. After that, Isak and I became really good friends. He'd always sit with me to watch his football games and started coming over to my place for study dates. Since he joined so late, he needed to do a lot of catching up and I was more than happy to help. I hated to admit it, I just had the biggest crush on him. The annual spring dance was around the corner and it was all anyone could talk about at school. All the girls were yapping nonstop about their dresses and who they'd be going with. Of course, I was hoping Isak would ask me out, but when he didn't, I decided I didn't need to wait around like a sappy Disney princess. I'd ask him out myself. I bought tickets for the opening show of the new Avengers movie. Just as we were about to enter the theater, one of the cinema staff stopped me.
Hey, little girl, you can't go in. That's a PG-13 movie.
I'm almost 16 here! Look at my ID!
We see fake IDs all the time, kid. Sorry, but I can't let you go.
And with that, he pushed me out of line and refused to listen to me anymore. I can't believe this. Let's go then.
Go. I mean, what's the point of wasting both the tickets? We'll still have dinner together, okay?
And just like that, he turned and went inside. I was furious as I couldn't even go anywhere because he'd driven me here. When he finally came out after 3 hours, he was practically jumping with excitement.
OMG, that was epic! Deadpool is way funnier and cooler than I imagined!
He'd not only watched the movie without me, he'd ruined it for me completely. I thought maybe the rest of the evening would go a little better, but boy was I wrong. At the end of the meal, when the waitress brought us our fortune cookies, they looked over excitedly at Isak to open his and read the little note inside.
Will you be my date for the spring dance, Isak?
He looked up at me in complete shock.
Alva, I don't know how to say this, but no. How could you even think that? You're more like a little sister to me. I've already asked Jessica out. Man, you've really made things awkward.
I felt so utterly crushed and stupid I flung a glass of water in his face. I wish I could become Wolverine to leave 3 scars on your mouth. And with that, I ran out of there and took the bus home. Nobody was more grateful than me when stupid high school ended and I was off to college. It wasn't too far from my town, so my parents could visit me often or come bail me out every time an officer thought I was an underage driver. Gosh, this is the 3rd time this month. Why are you police officers so dumb? Can't you see I have a real license?
She doesn't mean that, officer. Come on, sweetie. Let's go!
My parents always had my back, but no one understood how frustrating it was for me to be treated like a kid all the time until I met Andrew. In my 2nd year at university, I took up a job as a professor's assistant for one of the courses. I knew the other students made fun of me behind my back, but one day they went really overboard. The professor was unexpectedly detained and I was taking the class in his place. As soon as I turned my back to the board, I got hit by a dozen paper balls. I turned around to see everyone snickering. I'm your teacher! Didn't your parents teach you any respect?
You're not our teacher! You can't even reach the top of the board without standing on a stool. Go back to school, loser!
You can't behave this way with me! I want everyone who's responsible to apologize right now!
Or you'll do what? Go crying to your mommy?
I'll fail you in every single assignment. You do remember I grade them, right?
Oh no! I'm scared, Miss Alva. Will you forgive me if I give you a lollipop?
That's it! Get out!
Happy to! Come on, guys, let's go! We don't need to take orders from some high school smarty pants!
And just like that, the whole class walked out. I tried to keep my cool, but when everyone had left, I burst into angry tears. Just then, I felt a gentle tap on the shoulder, and I looked up to see that it was Andrew, one of the students.
I'm really sorry about the way they treated you. I think you're really smart and beautiful.
We became friends, and soon after we started dating. He was just the sweetest guy, and even though he looked much older than me, he was never ashamed to hold my hand in public, even if it got us weird looks. A few weeks later, I had an internship interview in another city, and Andrew offered to see me off at the airport. Just as I was leaving, he took my hand.
Good luck, babe. I hope you get it, but I'll really miss you.
And with that, he pulled me in for our first kiss. My head was still spinning with joy, and finally I saw a few policemen walking towards us.
Sir, please move away from the kid!
What's the problem, officer?
We've recently had many reports of a gang kidnapping young girls, and you need to come down to the station with us to answer a few questions.
Wait, what? He's not a kidnapper. He's my boyfriend, and I'm 20 years old. The policeman didn't listen to a word we said, and we were taken down to the station. My parents had to come down again with my birth certificate and baby pictures before they finally let us go. It turned out that the people at the airport had been making videos of the whole thing, and it had gone viral on social media with people saying all sorts of mean things about me and Andrew. And to make things worse, the company I had an interview with wasn't happy that I didn't show up, so I lost the internship too. I was beyond furious now. I took to social media myself and posted a video talking about how I'd always been discriminated against because of the way I looked. The video went viral, and I started receiving a lot of sympathy messages and support. The public pressure made the police issue an official apology, and the company even offered me the internship again. But my condition had really sparked an interest in the public, and I was being invited to tons of TV and online interviews. All everyone wanted to know was the secret of my youth. Soon enough, I realized that people envied me. One morning, I picked up the local newspaper from the door and was horrified to see my face splashed across the front page with the headline, "Girl Discovers Secret to Eternal Youth."
Babe, come here and look outside the window.
To my shock, there was a massive crowd of people outside our apartment building, and the minute they spotted me in the window, they started screaming.
Have you discovered the Fountain of Youth? Tell us where it is. What do you eat to look so young? I'll pay anything for it.
With your anti-aging formula for youthful skin, we can become millionaires. Come work for our skincare company.
This was complete madness, and I had to put an end to it. I opened the window and everybody became quiet to hear what I had to say. Listen, there is no secret. It's a condition I've always had, and it's not a blessing. I've never had anyone take me seriously my whole life. I spent all of high school being bullied. My message to everyone is that we all need to learn to be happy in our own skins and accept everyone as they are. Thankfully, the message spread far and wide, and people didn't bother me again. But I still became pretty famous and was regularly called for talks on self-acceptance and against bullying. I'm married to Andrew now, and we have 2 young kids, and secretly I really don't mind at all when someone says I don't look like a mom.
Hi, I'm Layla, and I figured out 2 things very early in life. 1, my older sister Fiona is dumb, and 2, she really hates me. Fiona is a year older than me, but it didn't take me too long to catch up with her. I was talking before she did, and I learned how to read while she was still struggling with the alphabet. My parents loved showing me off, and I think it really bothered Fiona.
Sweetie, why don't you recite the poems you learned for our guests?
Layla, tell your aunt the cool thing that you read in your encyclopedia yesterday.
Just then, Fiona came running, wearing her bathing suit over her clothes.
Look at me! I look like a mermaid in my baby soup.
Your what?
My baby soup, Mom. Baby soup? This, You don't understand anything I say. Oh, just help me take it off. It's stuck in my limbo.
I think she's saying her bathing suit is stuck in her elbow, Mom.
Oh, I see, Layla. You're so bright, silly Fiona.
Did I mention that? I sometimes taught Fiona the wrong words because it was funny when she sounded stupid? Yeah, I'm not very proud of that now, but that's not the only reason she hated me. I was the only one in my family with red hair, and my parents loved it, especially Mom, who would do all sorts of hairstyles.
Layla, your hair looks so magical. Let's try braids today.
You know why it looks magical? Because she's a leopard clown.
You mean a leprechaun? She told me all the time that my parents pretended to like my red hair, so I wouldn't feel bad.
When you were born, Mom and Dad cried tears of ugliness for days. They even tried to give you up for adoption. No one wanted you.
And one time she even tried to chop my hair off. And things got worse when in 8th grade she failed a class and ended up being with me. As if our parents weren't enough, our history teacher, Miss Sheldon, loved comparing her to me in front of everyone.
Your assignment is just appalling, Fiona. Did you see your sisters? Magnifique! Why can't you be more like her? Didn't you do any research? What's there to research? Someone ugly said something dumb to someone boring a long time ago, and then some lame war broke out. Who cares about this stuff? A person who wants to have an educated mind? Who cares what's on the inside when the package is this pretty? Looks are not important. Huh? That's ugly people talk. Did your boyfriend ever say that? Oh, wait. I bet you've never had one. Detention. Now.
The next day before history class, I saw Fiona putting a mug of coffee on Miss Sheldon's table. While everyone else was snickering, I was instantly suspicious. Fiona, what are you up to?
What? I'm just trying to make up for my behavior yesterday.
What did you put in there?
I don't know. Maybe some spit, maybe some laxative, maybe both. Who can say?
Just then, Miss Sheldon walked in, and Fiona handed her the mug sweetly with an apology. But I tried taking it away from her. I really don't think you should have that.
Why?
I just don't think it's a good idea.
Why? Is there something in the coffee? Layla, tell me now.
No, I just don't think you need to drink coffee. It gives you really bad breath. Give that to me, please. I ended up spilling the whole thing on her white coat.
Oh my god, you dumb butt kisser. You ruined my whole plan.
The next thing I knew, I was in detention too, with Fiona for the very first time in my life. But suddenly, Fiona was freaking popular. No one liked Miss Sheldon much, and everyone thought Fiona was super cool for trying to mess with her. And now she was using her newfound power to turn everyone against me. She was the beautiful, fun blonde, and I was the red-haired, nerdy sister being called things like Carrot Top and Ketchup Head. Boy, could girls be mean. Eventually, the teasing got old, or I just learned to ignore it. But soon I was given an assignment in history class to do a presentation on Scotland. The more I studied, the happier I felt. There were so many cool red-headed Scots, and I definitely felt better about my hair. Before class, I went to the bathroom to change into a kilt. I had spent hours making it just for the presentation. But just then, my sister walked in. She pulled out her phone and started taking pictures.
Going back home, Leprechaun.
Buzz off, Fiona!
You look so stupid. What is that? A cool girl skirt?
It's a kilt. Get out of my way!
You can't leave yet. Leprechauns can't travel without a rainbow.
With that, she pulled out some paints from her backpack and squirted them all over my outfit. I ran out of the bathroom, crying angry tears. Fiona did get detention, but it was her millionth time, and she didn't give a hoot. The next year, I got a fresh start. Our dad had gotten a new job across the state, which meant I was going to a new high school. I was determined to end the teasing that my red hair gave me. Hey, Mom, now that I'm 16, I think I should get to make some choices about my hair. I'd like to change the color.
But your hair is beautiful, sweetie.
I know you like it, Mom, but I just want to try something a little more mature, you know?
I guess if that's what you want, you're growing up so fast.
Thanks, Mom! I ran straight to the store and bought a box of black hair dye, and it worked. My hair was dark and silky. No more red.
Do you think that'll fool anyone? You can't cover up what you are, little leprechaun.
Whatever, Fiona. Don't you have something stupid to do? Go away!
Just saying. The truth always comes out.
The first day of school was like a dream come true. No one said anything about my hair. I blended right in and even got a few compliments on my cute outfit, which I'd added some accessories to myself. Fiona was right back in with the cheerleaders, but this was the first time she and I were in a co-ed school, and being around boys was making her even dumber.
The football captain and I went out last night, but he never called or texted me back. I don't get it. I think he was even hiding from me in school.
Okay, how did the date go?
It was amazing, like we were meant to be. There was just one awkward moment when this weird girl came to our table and started flirting with him. And I bit her hand really hard. I'm sure she got the message that he's not interested in her. He was just too nice to say it.
You scared him off, you psycho! How about you don't act like a jealous, blood-sucking vampire next time? But she continued her serial dating and getting heartbroken, and I was getting sick of her stories. It's not like she took my advice. Other than that, school was going great. I was doing well in my classes and had even joined the drama club as a costume designer. A play was being held soon, but the main actor fell ill right before the performance. I had to make sure his understudy fit in the costume, but I didn't even recognize him. I ran frantically through the dressing room shouting, "Hey! Is there anyone named Skylar here?"
Yeah, that's me.
Okay, I need you to take off your clothes right now. He grinned, and I blushed as people around us started laughing. I didn't... Okay, wait. Let me start over. You need to try this on right now, and I have to make sure this fits you. I'm the costume person, not a pervert.
I know, I've seen you around, Layla. Right. I'll just change into this and be right back.
This Skylar was freaking cute, and he knew my name. His shirt was missing a button, and my heart was skipping beats as I stitched it on. There! You're all set!
Thanks, Layla. Wish me luck.
Break your legs. I mean, a leg? Only one? Single. Just a figure of speech, anyway. Ugh, gosh, I sounded dumber than Fiona. So I was quite surprised when Skylar came and sat next to me at recess the next day. He was funny and sweet, and I was having a great time talking to him.
By the way, I'm part of the student council, and currently we're deciding on a theme for the homecoming dance. Any ideas? I can never think of anything other than sports themes.
If you like sports, maybe you could do the Scottish Highland Games.
Wow, I love Scottish stuff. This is a really good idea. Thanks, Layla.
Just then, Fiona dropped her butt right next to him.
Mind if I join your table? I'm Fiona, Layla's sister.
Don't mind at all.
Also, I couldn't help overhearing your conversation. Homecoming is all about the football games. We should totally do a varsity theme. I'll wear my cheerleading outfit. It'll be so cool.
I was fuming. I couldn't believe she was butting herself into this too. Didn't she have enough guys to date? They just couldn't let me be happy. I spent the rest of lunch just sitting there and listening to them talk about school sports. A couple of weeks passed, and neither Skylar nor Fiona talked to me. But I was busy with my studies and my friends, and I was happy for a change. I wasn't going to be bothered by some guy I barely knew. But then one day, Skylar stopped me in the hall on the way to class.
Hey Layla, wait up. Sorry, I haven't been around much. I've been super busy getting everything ready for homecoming week.
Oh yeah, it's whatever. I've been really busy too.
Well, I hope you're not too busy to maybe go to the dance with me. I mean, if you aren't going with anyone else.
The dance? With you? I'd love to.
Great, I'll meet you there.
I couldn't believe it. No teasing, new friends, and even a date to homecoming? I was practically skipping everywhere the rest of the day until I got home.
Word around school is that Skylar asked you to homecoming?
Yeah, and?
Well, I'm here to tell you that he isn't going with you. He is going with me.
Says who?
Says this.
She held up her phone and showed me the picture she had taken of me in a kilt with my bright red hair. Hey, get rid of that!
Tell him you can't go with him, or I show this picture to the entire school.
No, don't you dare!
It's up to you.
Fine. I didn't want to go to that stupid dance anyway. The next day at school, I told Skylar I wasn't going to go to the dance with him. He tried to change my mind, but there was no way I was going to let him see that picture of me. He looked a bit hurt, and I felt awful, but I didn't have a choice. The night of the dance, I tried to stay home. But the thought of Fiona laughing and having fun with Skylar made me feel like I might explode. I quickly got ready, then sped my car to the dance. I burst through the doors and saw Fiona dancing, surrounded by her friends. But I didn't see Skylar anywhere. Just then, there was a hand on my shoulder.
Layla, I thought you couldn't make it.
Yeah, me too, 'cause I was scared.
Scared of what?
Of you finding out the truth. Fiona was beside us with her phone in her hand. Within a few seconds, everyone's phones were going off, including Skylar's. He pulled it out of his pocket and opened a message. And there was that picture of me. She had sent it to everyone.
Wait, is that you, Layla?
You know what? Yeah, that is me. I dyed my hair black, but it's actually red as a tomato. And if you hate it, then you're all just shallow and stupid.
Hate it? I love it.
What? What?
Layla, you're cool the way you are.
So are you. May I have this dance? You may just give me 1 second, though. Listen, you bimbo. I've kept putting up with you and making excuses for your behavior, but I've had enough. You tried your best to humiliate me, but it was an epic failure, so in your face. Now please get a life and act less desperate, and I'm sure you'll be able to land a boyfriend with the same IQ as you. Just leave me alone, okay? That weekend, I took the dye out of my hair, and Fiona dyed hers red. But it wasn't real, not like mine. I was beautifully redheaded and very happy to be me.
Hey, I'm Luna. Please like and subscribe. I'm about to share a story about the challenges life has thrown at me. My parents, especially my dad, weren't what some would call expressive and loving. They constantly fought and seemed to spend more time hating each other than anything else. Dad always had the TV blaring. The noise kept me up at night, so I often resorted to sleeping with headphones on. I knew he wasn't a bad person. He just had some annoying habits and seemed to enjoy annoying Mom. Mom was kind. She did her best to be the best mom. She'd surprise me with toys and candies. My favorite place was our treehouse, which Mom built for me. It was my escape. I loved spending time there with my bestie Lily.
Luna, everything will be okay. My mom got me 2 dolls, and I want to give you one. Let's grab some ice cream.
Lily was my best friend since kindergarten. She always knew how to cheer me up, sharing her toys with me. We were inseparable, so much so that some people at school mistook us for twins. Plus, Lily had an amazing voice. Sometimes she sang to me until I fell asleep in the treehouse. Lily's family seemed perfect. Her mom was a successful fashion designer, and her dad was a police officer. Sometimes I found myself wishing I was part of her family, but I'd immediately feel guilty knowing my mom loved me. When I was 16, my gymnastics coach said I should compete in another state. Excited, I asked my parents for money to go. Dad, busy with his motorbike, brushed me off.
Wish I could, honey, but I gotta paint the bike. It's my pride and joy.
I could tell Mom wanted to help by the way she looked at me, giving me the "I wish I could help you, dear" look. That day, I made up my mind to do something. I grabbed my dad's motorbike keys, thinking I could ride to the competition myself. But since I didn't really know how to drive, I ended up crashing into a fire hydrant. Dad was furious about his damaged bike. But before he could say anything, Mom intervened.
Don't you dare yell at her!
Mom then hugged me and handed me some money.
Here, take this money. I've been saving it for quite a while now. I love you, baby.
I hugged Mom tightly. I participated in the gymnastics competition and took second place. On the way back, my coach had some really bad news.
Your mom got into an accident while buying ingredients for your favorite apple pie. She's in the hospital now, in a coma.
I couldn't say a word. I just stayed quiet all the way home. When I got back, Dad hugged me and told me not to worry, saying Mom would be okay. Later at dinner, I asked Dad something tough. Dad, can I stay with Lily's family for a bit? It's not that I don't like being with you, but I feel happier there. They really care about me.
Sure, if that makes you happy. I'll talk to Lily's parents.
And Lily's family was really welcoming. Lily's mom used to say,
"We're glad to have you, dear. You're like my second daughter from now on."
That's how I ended up living with my best friend's family. They even gave me my own room. Lily's parents were wonderful. They looked after me and made me feel like I was their daughter, even though her dad wasn't always. I loved them with all my heart and thought of them as family. Lily and I even got closer. We'd spend all night talking or playing video games. I still saw my dad from time to time, and he seemed to be improving, becoming nicer.
I'll keep getting better until you say you want to come back and live with me.
Well, that might take some time, but yeah, keep your hopes up. One day, as I was walking around the house, I found a room full of beautiful clothes. Curious, I started trying them on. Lily's mom walked in on me.
"You look beautiful. I've always hoped to share my wardrobe with a daughter."
Just then, Lily walked in, and her mom invited her to join.
"Lily, darling, come try on some clothes too."
I don't want to.
Soon, I got really close to Lily's mom. We hung out a lot, and I even helped her out at photo shoots, sometimes modeling for her. One day, I was shocked to see my picture on the cover of a big magazine.
"I wish Lily liked fashion like you do. Thank you for always being here for me."
I smiled and thanked her for making me feel like part of her family. But something was off with Lily. She started keeping to herself, staying in her room, and didn't want to hang out or do anything with me. When I tried talking to her, she just said,
"I want to be left alone."
I was really worried about Lily's sudden change and couldn't figure out what I did wrong. I kept trying to fix things, even apologizing, but nothing worked. She sometimes even yelled at me. I had to give her space, even though it hurt a lot. One evening at dinner, Lily's mom shared some exciting news.
"Luna, your teacher called. Your college aptitude test scores were amazing. I'm so proud of you."
Turning to Lily, her mom asked,
"And how did yours go, honey?"
"Oh, I didn't bother with it. I'm going to be a singer, so I don't need it. Maybe one of your famous friends could help produce my album."
"I won't do that. I want more for you. You're going to college, and later you can decide what you want.
What? You can't make those decisions for me. I'm going to be a singer, and that's that.
As your mom, yes, I can guide you.
You can't tell me anything.
Lily, stop. Your mom's just trying to help.
You shut up. My life was better before you showed up. Go back to your miserable family and leave us alone. I hate you both.
Angry, Lily knocked all the family pictures off the shelf. After that, her behavior got worse. She began skipping school and got mad whenever someone tried to talk about what she was doing. Lily's behavior toward me got worse, turning her into what felt like a real-life villain. She constantly tried to make trouble for me, and even though her mom always ended up forgiving me, it just made Lily angrier. For example, Lily switched her unfinished homework with mine, confusing my teacher. Luckily, the teacher sorted it out. Lily made a fake social media account with my name, posting embarrassing stuff. It took a while, but I showed it wasn't me and shut it down. Lily hid a library book I borrowed, causing me to get late fees. Her mom found it later and figured out Lily's trick. Lily messed with my bike's brakes. I felt something was wrong before I rode it and stopped myself from getting hurt. This escalated one afternoon when Lily's mom was away on a business trip and her dad was away at work. Lily decided to do something drastic. She turned the backyard into a makeshift movie theater. I'm not sure showing a movie here is a good idea.
Well, it's better than having you around all the time.
The backyard quickly filled with people, the projector buzzing to life. I stayed inside, trying to avoid the chaos, and was flipping through a magazine when suddenly someone stumbled into my room.
Oops, my bad. I was looking for the kitchen. Hey, is that a magazine about vintage cars? My dad collects them, and I've read a bunch about them. Is that the issue with the 60s muscle cars?
Yes, it is. His name was Brian. We discovered we shared a lot of interests and spent the evening chatting in the kitchen. Just as we were really connecting, the screen outside fell over with a crash. Suddenly, Lily and her mom came in.
Look, Mom, I knew it. Luna set up this whole movie thing just to hang out with her boyfriend.
Boyfriend? That's not true. Why would I organize this party? Lily, you're my only friend here.
Then explain him being in your room. This must be your party.
Enough, Lily. I don't think Luna would do this. But young man, it's time for you to go home. Please.
Lily looked so angry and stormed off. She stopped talking to me and just ignored my existence. I kept talking to Brian. Having him in my life was great. He was nice-looking and well-mannered. His family had money, and he shared his dream of becoming a doctor with me. A few days later, Lily's mom called me into the living room, where I found my dad sitting.
I really care about you and loved having you here, but things with Lily are getting tough. She's feeling left out. Plus, your dad's been talking to us. He's made some changes, wants you back, and misses you a lot.
The past few months have been really tough without you. I love you and want you to come home.
I didn't say much. When I feel a lot, I find it hard to speak. But I managed to say, I'll pack my things. I moved back with Dad. And honestly, things weren't bad. He had really improved, and hanging out with him wasn't bad at all. But I ended up blocking Brian. I didn't have a strong reason to cut him off. I felt like I didn't deserve him and just needed a fresh start. A few months after finishing high school, I couldn't go to college right away. Dad didn't have the money because we had big hospital bills for Mom, so I started working as a pizza delivery person. It was tough, but I never thought about quitting. I worked really hard and finally got into college. I planned to study economics and maybe even start my own business someday. While studying, I took any job I could get. Eventually, I managed to rent a tiny apartment with a view of the city dump. It wasn't much, but it was mine. I could finally study and rest there. Dad even helped me buy a used car for my delivery job. Things were starting to get better. I kept working hard, aiming for success. I often thought about Lily and her parents, and my mom too. I missed them a lot. With exams coming up, I studied all night and worked all day. I felt unstoppable, like nothing could slow me down. But one day, while out on a delivery, I suddenly felt very dizzy, and the next thing I knew, I crashed into a tree. I was rushed to the hospital. Everything hurt, but what pained me the most was my thoughts. Why couldn't things just go right for once? I hugged my pillow and burst into tears. Then a young doctor came in, and I was shocked. Brian, is that really you? He recognized me too.
I always thought I'd run into the girl who broke my heart again.
Feeling embarrassed, I just looked down and stayed quiet as usual. Brian had finished medical school and was now an intern at the hospital. I apologized. and we chatted for a while and swapped phone numbers. Over time, we got closer and started dating. Brian had the kindest heart, and he even helped me with my college fees. One day, I went to the hospital to bring Brian his lunch and decided to visit Mom afterward. I entered her room, and she looked so peaceful, just like an angel. I gently kissed her forehead. Mom, I have to tell you something. I tried to replace you. I was so angry when I felt you gave up on me, so I gave up on you. I was angry at Dad, too, even though the poor man was struggling without you. I used to be mad at Lily, but as I got older, I understood her, and we made up. I'm friends with her mom now, too. I love them, but no love can match yours. Guess what I found out this morning? I'm pregnant. I'm going to surprise Brian tonight on our date. I think he's going to propose, and I'll say yes. Mom, I'm happy, but my happiness isn't complete without you. Tears overwhelmed me, and I laid my head on her hands. When suddenly, I felt her hands move. Overjoyed, I ran to the doctor like a little kid shouting, "My mommy is awake! My mommy is aware!"
Hi, cuties! I'm Emma. Get ready to dive into the wild drama of my life, a real-life soap opera that even Shakespeare would have loved to write. But first, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button. Now we can start. You know those seemingly perfect families where the father is a cheerful, wealthy businessman and the mother is a loving housewife who does everything for her kids? Blonde, rosy-cheeked, perfect-teeth children? Yeah, me neither. Ever since I can remember in my life, it was only me and my mom, Emily. My mom loved me, but when it came to my dad, she went to great lengths to erase any trace of him, and she did a darn good job. Mom, I was wondering about my dad. What, Dad? Here, have a bag of candies. It was always like that with Mom. Have a bag of that. Or keep this stock of chocolates. Or, look, that marshmallow looks like Grandma Teresa. So instead of finding out anything about him, I just put on a lot of weight. Eventually, I stopped asking. Even my mom sensed that something was wrong with me. While the neighborhood kids played outside, I spent all my time cooped up in my room, reading books by myself. At some point, she must have thought that I needed a father figure, which was true, and decided to get one for me. Unfortunately, her dating life was so disastrous that it probably made Cupid consider early retirement for real. It was the same thing over and over again. It went like this. Emma, please let me introduce you to insert name my new boyfriend. We love each other so much. Of course. 2 weeks later, there we were, indulging in a second bowl of ice cream and watching Titanic with her sobbing uncontrollably on my shoulder. Jack, take me with you. We were supposed to stay together forever. Mom, you met him like a month ago. The best month of my life. But honestly, my mom had a PhD in ruining her relationships. All her boyfriends had shorter lifespans than a goldfish's memory. She would get bored of them and then find a way to sabotage the relationship. Magically, it was always their fault. Antonio, the chef, seemed like the perfect candidate. After all, who wouldn't want a dad who could cook 5-star meals? But then, can you believe it? He abandoned me all night to dine at a restaurant alone, preferring puff pastry over spending time with me. Mom, he works there. Then there was Markin. I thought a cop would keep us safe, right? But I was expecting a rose or a diamond. Instead, he gifted me a police scanner. And then there was Philip. I always dreamt of a dad who could always make us laugh. But he couldn't stay serious for 10 minutes straight. Well, today he's the world's most famous comedian. I was already giving up on the idea of having a stepfather when my mom came home one day with a new surprise. This time, though, I felt something was different, and I was right. Here, love, this is Ben. Benjamin, this is my daughter, Emma.
What a lovely fairy I see. Am I welcome into your manor, my fair maiden?
That man was not like the others. Ben looked older, with such a fine white beard and mustache, and those small round spectacles that made him look like some woodsman from old stories. In my mind, a dad had always been similar to him in appearance. Surprisingly, Ben actually became a father to me, and he really knew how to show me his love. Like that time when I got an A in mathematics, and Ben recited a poem he had written for me.
Here is the smartest of my muses, the shiniest of my lights. A new Pythagoras in disguise.
Nobody had ever appreciated me so much. Or that time, December 16th, when I came back home after a full day at school, only to find the hall full of bearded guys and Ben, in the middle of them, shouting toward me. Surprise.
Happy birthday to our fairy.
Those were Ben's friends from the War Games Club. I didn't expect any birthday celebration, because Mom had always forgotten it herself. But now she was there too, right in the middle of them. Could Ben have changed her so much? Ben, I have no words.
It's only my duty to make you smile, my fair maiden.
I hugged him the strongest I could and started crying like a baby. Sir Benjamin, I love you. I had finally found a father after 10 years of my life, and we were like a real happy family. It felt like a dream, and like in every dream, at a certain point, I had to wake up. A few years later, Mom started receiving strange phone calls in the middle of the night. She would pick up quietly like a thief and go to the bathroom to speak as any guilty teenager would. Once I caught her coming out of the bathroom with a suspicious smile on her face. Who was it?
Oh, just some friend. Don't worry about it.
Don't worry. I make a living out of worrying. I knew something was wrong. The calls suddenly stopped, but the signs were still there. Why would Mom be sending herself those goofy bouquet cards decorated with plastic roses?
Can't I buy nice things for myself?
Not to mention the gold-sprayed aluminum bracelet I found she was wearing out of the blue, after a life of hating bracelets and necklaces.
It's just part of my midlife crisis.
Or the giant heart-shaped balloon we suddenly had in the main hall, glittery as a disco ball, and red as love, or hell.
Wrong address. Or maybe the wind brought it here.
Yeah, like I'm that dumb. Then one morning, I was sick at home, searching in my mom's bedroom for her laptop, ready to consume my eyes in yet another Harry Potter marathon. Where is it? Axio laptop. What is this? There was a letter on my mom's nightstand. Strange. I haven't seen the postman in a while.
My love, I'm like a lost sock just looking for its match.
Ew, so cheesy. When Mom got back home that night, I confronted her. How could you do this, Mom?
Emma, I can explain.
Ben is the only dad I have ever had, and you're betraying him.
If you would only let me talk. Please.
I don't want to listen to you anymore, Mom. I'm tired of you and your editor won't let me say the next word. But you can imagine what I mean. I wasn't gonna let her ruin our relationship with Ben. I had to act fast. So the next day, I went to confront that homewrecker, getting his address from the letter. I rang the doorbell nonstop. Open up!
What the?
The man was about to blow up. But when he saw me, surprise filled his eyes.
Please come in.
That mysterious man looked like a retired rock star, or an extra from Pirates of the Caribbean. He invited me inside his great villa, which was full of instruments. Look, whoever you are, my mom's with someone else. Just leave us alone. Don't mess up our lives. I've barely found my dad, and you.
What if I told you I'm your real dad?
His words hit me like a mute button.
I was eager to meet you again, but your mom thought you weren't ready.
Of course, he could have been lying, but somehow I knew he wasn't. My father disappeared when I was a child.
Emma, I'm really sorry things got messed up between your mom and me back then, but I'm here now, and I want to be part of your life.
I was left completely speechless. My mom soon joined us. Mom looked truly happy after all those years. She told me she hadn't connected with anyone else because she wasn't over Dad and only wished for him to stay with us. Of course, I was thrilled about having my real dad with me again. But then a sudden doubt fell upon me like a spaceship out of fuel. But Ben! He already knows everything, and he still wants to be a part of your life. We can be a big family. So just like that, I went from having no dad to having two. You would think it's like winning the lottery twice, but not quite. I felt overwhelmed and with a great weight on me. Before, I didn't have to worry about disappointing anyone. But now I had two dads who had high expectations of me, and let's say they weren't too fond of each other.
Chris, lower the volume. Emma's studying.
Oh, just jamming out, man. Rockstar practice, you know.
Oh, wow. But I thought rock and roll had been dead for a long time.
Good music never dies. Besides, aren't you obsessed with knights and things from hundreds of years ago?
Oh, absolutely. But unlike your music, knights never go out of style.
Come on, guys. If you really think about it, rock stars and knights have a lot in common, like both loved leather and dying young. But while some wore armor and swords, the others used guitars and a lot of hairspray. That made a lot more sense in my head. Soon things went even further south. One day, they forgot to pick me up, and I had to walk home in the middle of a storm. When Ben saw me, he went mental.
Chris, you were supposed to pick her up. I asked you to do one thing as I had an urgent appointment.
Oops, I totally lost track of time making these cookies to surprise her. Come try one, honey.
As I reached for a cookie, Ben sprang into action like a movie hero, dove over the couch in slow motion, snagged it from my hand, and sent the whole tray flying.
These have peanuts. Emma's your own daughter and you don't even know she's allergic to peanuts? Or you just don't care?
I don't even want to remember the fight that followed. Can you imagine two gunslingers in front of each other, ready to open fire at the slightest movement? Well, it was kind of like that. The constant fighting became a part of my life. I realized that this was affecting them as well. Ben looked more deteriorated and tired than ever, and my dad seemed constantly anxious, as if he was hiding a big secret. On my first Christmas with my new family, they dove into a full gift duel. The prize of it wasn't a juicy bounty, but my love.
Dear, I got you Ozzy, your new puppy.
Are you serious? I got her Lady Godiva, the most majestic kitten in town.
Oh, thank you guys. I love them both so much. Of course, getting double presents was quite fun. But soon, my new pets were casualties of the parents' war. Lady Godiva was given away to our neighbor's children by my dad after he definitely saw me sneezing with her nearby. It was mid-December, by the way. A few days later, someone shaved Ozzy completely, making him a pink bear with a black nose.
Oh, that's horrible.
Nobody ever found the mysterious culprit. Then it came. December 16th, my birthday again. My dad must have known what Ben did on my last birthday and decided it was a good idea to outdo him at his own game. So he called all of his musician friends to blast a birthday party rock serenade for me.
To my beloved daughter, you, all the people of the world, rock. This song is for you.
But then, right before the concert started, another group of people appeared. Vikings, Romans, Celts. Who knows? They were an army of guys dressed for a historic recreation, waving toy spears.
What is all this, Ben?
There is a time for peace and a time for war, Chris. Men, be ready.
Someone sounded a war horn, and my birthday soon became like the final battle of Endgame. But instead of aliens and superheroes fighting, I had cosplaying history nerds versus elderly musicians incapable of accepting the passage of time. A clash for the century. After watching the battle for a bit, I went home, all set to blow out the candles and dive into the cake. But I found my so-called perfect family in the middle of a loud argument.
What are you even doing here, man? Emma's with her real parents. She doesn't need you anymore. This whole uncle situation is bizarre.
That's true. Explaining it to people is a real pickle.
Say what you want, but I've been her father longer than you.
Well, he has a point. How about that?
Her father? A history nerd with a Willy Wonka mustache? You must be joking.
I don't think Willy Wonka has a mustache. My mother's mediation skills are truly out of this world.
Why don't we let her decide then?
Oh, no!
Yeah, she's old enough to decide who should be your dad.
No, I am not. Mom, you are my last hope. Please stop this madness. Maybe that's for the best. Thanks for nothing, Mom. So that's how it is? You're piling your responsibilities onto me. Why can't you guys understand? I want both of you in my life. But if you can't handle that, I'd rather have neither than choose between you two. I was ready to storm out, but then my dad said something really strange.
Are you happy, Ben? This was your master plan. First you found me. Then you invited me to your cosplay parties and made me realize that I should get back with Emily. Why did you do all that if you didn't want me here?
Everybody's eyes went on Ben at those words. Mine too. What was all that about?
You're absolutely right, Chris. I shouldn't be here at all. I'm really sorry, Emma.
Then Ben darted away, leaving things abruptly. What the hell is going on? I ran after Ben just in time to catch him while he was already at the park, gasping. He doesn't look too good. He fainted the very next moment. Ben! What is going on? Are you okay? Ben? We rushed him to the hospital, and a few hours later, he woke up.
I guess my plan didn't run as smoothly as it did in my mind.
Why did you do all this, Ben?
My heart is breaking, Emma. Literally, the only thing keeping it together is you. I would love to be with you forever, but the doctors made it clear it's impossible. When I found out, I immediately sought your dad and asked him to come back. I wanted someone to be there for you after me, but then when I saw you and him together, I got so jealous. I thought you'd forget me for good.
I already had tears in my eyes again. I could barely force myself to speak. Ben! I will never forget you! And you are not leaving me at all. I had no idea you did all this. Chris didn't tell me anything.
Yes, because I asked him not to. It was a secret quest, eh? Like the ancient knights did. I did it for Emma. Emily. I had to. I'm sorry for lying, but...
Cough made it impossible for Ben to go on talking. I just hugged him so hard, as if trying to protect him. A few days later, Ben came back home with us, and it was as if he and Dad were two totally different persons. They put their jealousies and fights aside and became something like best friends. Dad even helped and cared for Ben throughout his illness. One night, when they thought Mom and I were sleeping, I overheard them talk.
I will never be able to thank you enough for bringing me back to my family. What you did is just...
It's okay, Chris. You're a great man. I'm just happy you are in Emma's life. You both deserve each other.
They hugged before wishing each other goodnight. I went to sleep with the biggest smile I had ever worn in my entire life. Now a lot of time has passed, and a lot of things have changed. I'm not a child anymore, and my groom is in front of me, waiting for my, yes, I do. Mom and Dad are by my side, happily together and smiling at me. And even if I can't see you in the same way, Ben, I know you are here too, sitting silently between the seats of this splendid church and looking at me with your peaceful gray eyes. You are as real as the photo of you I have inside of the pearl-shaped necklace I always keep by my heart, as I have promised you. I never forgot you, Ben. All that you did for me, from your silly poems to the way you tied my shoes. You will always live with me. You'll always be my guardian angel, and I am your fair maiden.